Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Johnny from MCKAY Hockey to give you my final Seattle Kraken mock draft before the protection lists come out. So on the 17th, all teams will have to give their protection lists, and either it's 8 skaters in general and a goalie, or 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie. If you do have any questions for me, reach out on DMs or leave a comment on any questions you don't understand on the Kraken selection process or just the expansion draft in general. Definitely leave a comment, subscribe if you're new, drop a like. I'm going to go over to the best of my abilities here a Kraken mock draft. And obviously I don't know all the details on which teams are going to protect which players, but I do believe that a lot of these players could get selected by the Kraken, and based on research, based on rumors, based on what I've learned, I do believe that there's some players here that will definitely get picked by the Kraken. So definitely let me know what you think, and let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. So these are my forwards we're going to go through here, and as you can see at the top, I drafted 30 players, 18 forwards, 9 defensemen, 3 goalies, and everything is good, all green as you can see, so you know that it was a good process, and just under the cap, so 80.3 mil in general, and just under that cap. So Seattle's trying to go for a good team, I believe. So they're good for salary cap. And right at the top there, you see Matt Duchene. So I want to pull up a tweet right now, and this was from today. Pierre LeBrun, there's a growing sense that the Predators might leave Matt Duchene unprotected in the expansion draft. He has 5 more years on his deal at 8 mil. So that's a lot, but I do believe that maybe Duchene in a different scenario, we saw a little bit in the playoffs, Duchene could go off. And I do have a scenario where Duchene, I'm going to pull up a potential kind of lineups, or we'll say just, I guess, I don't know, overall what the team could look like. I believe Eberle could be the Seattle's selection from the Islanders. And believe it or not, Eberle and Duchene did play together at the World Championships, I believe. It was like 2014, 2015. It was back a few years ago. And that one of the lines was actually Eberle, Duchene, Hall. And Hall's a free agent. Imagine that, bring that line back together. But I have Zucker from Pittsburgh. So Eberle, as I said, I have Nyquist, I have Dadonov, I have Tyler Johnson. That's one player where I go, okay, you know what, there's a bunch of other options on Tampa, and maybe Seattle doesn't want to do Tampa a favor. But I'm just thinking, if you could tag a first or second round pick to Tyler Johnson, maybe like a prospect like Taylor Radish, another prospect, I think Seattle could be convinced enough to take Tyler Johnson. He only has 3 years left, and it's a situation where he's 30. He looked decent in the playoffs. I think if Seattle can try to pry a couple assets away from Tampa, they'll take Tyler Johnson. JT Compher from Colorado, I think it could be a bunch of options there. Compher, it could be Jonas Donskoy, but I do believe Compher, the versatility of playing center and wing, maybe Colorado convinces them not to touch one of the defensemen if they don't go for 4 defensemen protected. Craig Smith, I will throw a hot take out here, and 2 hot takes actually. For Colorado, don't be surprised if Kadri gets traded or unprotected in a scenario where, okay, don't touch the defenseman, take Kadri, or maybe not Craig Smith, maybe DeBrusk becomes a Seattle Kraken. So look out for that. I think if not those guys, I could see a guy like Connor Clifton go to Seattle, but I'm going Craig Smith in this scenario. Nemestikov, if they protect a guy like Adam Ernie, Nemestikov might be the guy. Mason Appleton, I think, would be the extra forward that intrigues Seattle to take. Nathan Bastian, I think he had a good season with the Devils. I think either him or Andreas Janssen could be headed to the Kraken. Mason Marchment. I think Mason Marchment could be the intriguing one here. It could be Noel Acciari as well, but I think the Panthers want to keep him. I'll say this. Maybe the Panthers attach a first or second round pick and maybe a prospect for the Kraken to take one of Yandel or Strawman. Keep that in mind. Jonathan Dallin, Trevor Moore. I like the Jason Dickinson selection here a lot. Because Faxa and Pavelski, I imagine they protect, and that leaves Dickinson unprotected. Gauthier, Benson, Volkov. Benson one's interesting. Oilers fans do not want to lose him. They want to see him given a chance with Edmonton, but the scenario here is Holland likes his vets, and I do believe Edmonton likes Archibald a lot. So Tyler Benson, who hasn't been given an opportunity, I know Oilers fans would be mad, but if Benson's not being given an opportunity with Edmonton, then they might feel like if he's not, like, if there's not going to be much value there in a trade. And Volkov, I think he's an interesting aspect there. He was with Tampa, and I think he could be an interesting bet going forward. Let's go defenseman here. Carolina's another one. I think it could be a scenario where Carolina looks at one of the depth forwards, Foss being one of them, or looking at a guy like, Brady Shea if he's available. But Gardner, if Carolina was to attach again, like a second-round pick and a prospect, he's only got 2 years left at $4 million. And Gardner at times, 31, he's a good possession, number 2 power play guy. I could see the Kraken being like, hey, Carolina, sauce a second our way, and we'll take Gardner. So I could see that scenario, or they try to trade Gardner in the same scenario where they just attach a draft pick. Justin Schultz, I think they're going to try to take Schultz or Dillon here for the Kraken. And yeah, I would imagine they take a defenseman. The only other one I was considering is Garnet Hathaway. If Washington leaves Hathaway unprotected, that's a consideration there. Colin Miller, I think Buffalo could maybe attach like one of the prospects they don't want, or like a draft pick. But again, Buffalo wants to keep their picks, but they've collected a lot of picks. So I think it's a scenario where if Buffalo wants to keep a guy like Rasmus Asplund, then Colin Miller could be a Kraken, but Asplund could be a guy to look for the Kraken. Carson Soucy, now that they've made these buyouts with Suter and with Parise, I think obviously they protect Dumba, they protect Greenway. Soucy could be the guy on the way out to the Kraken. I think that's very likely at this point, unless they convince with a draft pick. Justin Braun, I think it's Braun or maybe Gauchis Bear. Abe Kubel could be another option there, but I'm going Braun, Dermott, or Kerfoot. I think it's Dermott or Kerfoot at this point. I'd be surprised if the Leafs leave Hall unprotected, but it's possible. I do believe Kerfoot is probably the more obvious choice here. I'm probably going with a little bit of a hot take going Dermott, but Dermott only 24. I think if he's given more of an opportunity, I think he could strive. Stillman, I like the contract there in Stillman. Chicago had confidence in him, and I think they'll go other directions with the protection list, but Stillman could be a good pick. And Shillington and Dunn. Okay, here's what I'll say. I think Calgary will try to convince the Kraken with some kind of draft pick or prospect to keep Giordano, their captain, and retire a Calgary Flame. But obviously don't be surprised if the Kraken take Giordano because they're going to want to protect the other 3 guys. They're going to want to protect Anderson and Hannafin probably, and Tanev, right? So, but I do believe Shillington could be a guy that's really sneaky, hasn't been given an opportunity. And Vince Dunn, if not Dunn, it's going to be like a Sanford selection there. But I think Vince Dunn could strive with the Kraken and a bigger opportunity. And goalies, I'm going Holtby, Allen, Aiden Hill. I think there's a bunch of other options. Like if, for example, if the Kraken don't pick Dadonov here, Austin Watson could be a pick, or Joey Decord if they protect Philip Gustafsson. So I think that could be a selection, but I'm going the tandem of Holtby, Allen, and man, if this is the Kraken team, which I think a lot of these guys are very possible, I think they could be a playoff team. So let's just look at the depth chart and what I have right now. Imagine the top line, Zucker, Duchesne, Eberle. Sorry, I didn't talk much about the Pittsburgh Zucker selection. So Zucker could be available because they might want to protect both McCann, and if they protect Kapanen, then it's a situation where, okay, do we protect Carter? Jeff Carter had a great year, and with Pittsburgh he looked so good. Or Teddy Bluger. I think either Teddy Bluger or Jason Zucker right now, based on odds, Jared McCann had a great year, and I think he's young enough that Pittsburgh wants to keep him. He could be the guy for Seattle, but I think right now, based on my knowledge, based on the rumors, I think Zucker or Bluger become a Seattle Kraken. Okay, so let's look at a few more names here. I'd say Bastian could be a guy that's traded. I would say one name that I'll look at for a trade right away would be a guy like Justin Braun. I think if Braun's like 34, I think if they were to select Braun, he could be a good asset to flip. I think if the Leafs lost Kerfoot here, Seattle will try to flip him, but I think the Leafs will try to trade Kerfoot. That's why I have more Dermott being selected here, because I think the Leafs will try to trade Kerfoot. So anyways, go back to the lines. Zucker, Duchesne, Eberle, that's a great top line for an expansion team. Nyquist, Comfort, Dadonov, I like that. I like the potential of Nyquist and Dadonov having bounce back years, same with Zucker. Nemestikov, Johnson, Smith. Craig Smith, pretty decent for a third line. I think Tyler Johnson has more to give on a different team. Marchment, Dickinson, Appleton, really solid fourth line. Then, as I said, more Bastian. Okay, Soucy, Schultz. We've seen great things from Schultz. So Soucy, Schultz, not a bad top pair. Obviously, I don't think the defense core is great here, but again, I think you were going higher on your forward group. Dunn, Miller, I don't think it's too bad. Gardner, Braun, and Dermott, and then Holtby, Allen. So I don't have a problem here with this team, and it's good for the salary cap. But as I will say, we will have more info and I'll have more of an idea once the protection lists come out. So let me know what you think. Just to go back here, obviously there's a lot up in the air still, and again, I'm kind of all over the place in what I think, but this was tough for me. I was kind of going back and forth between different players and different teams. But if you have any questions, definitely drop in the comments. You know, you can reach out to me on DMs, Twitter, Instagram. But this is what I'm going with for now. And again, later this week, I would say, I think it's Sunday, we'll probably know. So it's Tuesday today. By Sunday, we'll know the protection lists. So expect Monday, my final Seattle Kraken mock draft after I know the protection list. But this one's the final one before the protection list come out. So we still got a week in between. So I thought upload this video and then we'll do another one when the protection list come out. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment. Hopefully you enjoyed, and let me know your picks. And if you don't agree with one of the picks, who you got? Who do you got going to the Kraken? All right, guys, have a good one. Let's talk soon. More streams and videos to come. This was John from MCKAY. Peace out.